Hello, good morning. This is at least morning for me, maybe it's for you. We're gonna start a really deep splits practice, and I know that splits can be very scary. There's a lot of tensions. You might not want to do it. You might not be good at it. We're gonna have some drills here just to make sure to open up your body. And I don't say they're easy. It's pretty difficult. That doesn't mean you can't do it. And watch yourself, what you feel when you go into that tension. It's going to teach you a lot about yourself and help you to find that balance between tensions and relaxations. Teach you about your reactions of when it gets difficult. What is your reaction to go to? And then maybe you can correct that in your life as well. But because whatever we practice here on the mat, we can take into our life. So this is a beautiful, slower practice. We're going to have lots of strength work for the thighs and also flexibility, because flexibility and strength go hand in hand. I wish you a wonderful practice. Start with me in a child's pose. Today we're going to start our yoga practice in a child's pose. Just relax your shoulders back. Draw your arms a little bit more forward so the shoulders can drop further down. Find length in your back and relax. Just letting all the weight drop into the floor. Everything becoming heavy. And come into the present moment. Find a few seconds of stillness before we start the practice. See how you feel. Your mind, your body, your spirit, and just observe. Don't judge. Just observe. And then slowly stretch your arms forward and lengthen your arms. Come onto your fingertips. Stay in the child's pose. And just finding length in your shoulders, in your back, in your arms. Maybe swaying from side to side. Or maybe breathing deeply and letting everything more go. And then slowly rise up, look forward. Don't come up all the way yet, just look forward. Again, finding more length, and if it's not good for your neck, you can look down. Just finding that length, that extension. And then slowly rise up on your hands. And let's go through a few rounds of cat and cow. Slowly waking up your body. Really rounding your back, drawing in your belly, and really just dropping your back in the middle of the back. Maybe swaying back and forth, and then rounding your back. Maybe here, swaying back and forth. That feels good to you. You can do it in your own pace. If you want to go slower, if you want to go faster. I take a few breaths in each pose, and I like to sway back and forth. And then let's come into a puppy pose and just come forward and either putting down your forehead or putting down your chin. Dropping your shoulders to the floor. Opening up your upper back, you can engage your core to protect your lower back. Maybe swaying from side to side with your hips. And let's slide through into a cobra pose, sphinx actually. So draw your shoulders back, open up, and really draw yourself forward. Your legs are so engaged that the knees come off the floor. But your butt can be jiggly. Draw yourself up. The chest wants to rise up. You don't have to look up. You can also look down. It doesn't matter. As long as your chest is open, you draw your shoulders back as much as you can. Finding length. Taking a few breaths deeply into all the areas that might feel tight. And then place your toes on the floor, lengthening here your legs. Put yourself on the floor, have your hands underneath your shoulders, and draw yourself up, maybe in an upward facing dog already. With the toes on the floor, you can sway back and forth. Maybe looking over one shoulder, looking over the other shoulder, and then placing your knees down. Come into a child's pose, stay on the toes. Arms are extended, come on the fingertips. Letting go. And slowly rise up with your upper body and come into a toe stand. Just stretching out your feet here. This might be really intensive for a lot of people. Just stay here and breathe. We're not going to stay too long, so it's okay if it's intensive. It shouldn't hurt, but if it's just a little sensation, then that's okay. Coming forward with the upper body, and let's come into a downward facing dog. And let's walk the dog one side. And we don't have to go fast, we can go slow and just a little bit stretchy. And then the other leg. And now concentrating on the upper body, really truly pushing into the floor, finding lots of length in your back. And you can bend your knees quite a bit here. And then stay with your upper body and then extend back, but only if it feels good. If you have pinching in your back, then back off. Stay and breathe. Draw in your belly. Maybe come a little bit deeper. And then let's step forward with the right leg. Come into a high lunge. Really don't like the corner. Draw yourself up with your upper body. Really shift your hip forward. Tailbone is tucking under. And let's come up with our arms. If you cannot hold the balance, then just keep your hands on your hips. But really draw that back heel down towards the floor. And come down a little bit lower. Don't forget the tug of the tailbone and the drawing in of your belly. Let's have your hands in front of your heart and let's drop that knee down. And then come a little bit more down. You can keep your toes on the floor if you want to find a little bit more balance at the beginning. And then let's try to lift up our arms again. Come a little bit deeper. And let's have our hands nice side body stretch. I'm grabbing the left arm, left wrist, just stretching to the side. Keep your shoulders not close, but nice and open. And let's have our hands on our thigh, still opening up our chest. And then if you need padding for your knee, feel free to get some padding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw up my heel and placing it down. And I try not to come up or shift the upper body too much. Just lift the heel towards the butt and placing it down. If it bothers on your knees, just stay in this position. Up and down. 2 more times. Up and down, and release maybe a little bit further. 1 more time. Up and down. Placing your toes on the floor and just coming up a little bit. So your knees really bend, and it's really a deep stretch, and it also requires lots of strength in your legs. And then placing that knee down, come down, maybe on your forearms here. You can stay up also on the fingertips. Make sure that knee is not dropping to the side, but you're staying nice and open, lizard pose. To improve that flexibility, let's put our toes down 1 more time and lift that back foot and placing it down. 1 more time. Lift, lengthen to the front. The chest is open, almost like in Sphinx pose, and drop. 1 more time. Lift and drop and release. If it feels very intensive, stay here. Otherwise, you may be able to come on the outside of your foot and shift your weight to the side. You can also stay up here. This is fine too. If you want to go deeper, you come on your elbow and open up. Just relax, release. Maybe you feel good and you want to grab the back foot and release into your hand. Now, as you're staying here, you want to push the foot into the hand and release. Push the foot into the hand, lots of strength, and release. Push the foot into the hand and release. 1 more time. Push the foot into the hand, really lots of strength, and then release. Nice. Come to the front, come up, and shift your weight back. Breathing deeply. Really keeping your back straight here. And let's come forward. Come up again, low lunge. Shift a little bit your weight back and forth. And come to plank. Let's go through chaturanga, upward facing dog, to a downward facing dog. And let's step with the left foot forward and come into a high lunge. Hands first on your hips and really try to push that heel down, come further down. If you're ready, then lift up your arms. Look up if that feels comfortable to you. You can have your arms shoulder width open or closed, but really try to get them up, lifting them up, shoulders away from the ears. Tuck that tailbone under. And have your hands in front of your heart. Let's drop the knee down towards the floor. Hold it. Lots of strength. And placing that foot down. Keep the heel on the floor. I have to shift over a little bit. And come up. So both hips are facing forward. Maybe you're ready to have your arms lifted. Breathing deeply. Try to find the balance between relaxation and work. Breathing deeply will help you in this. Placing your hands on your knee, above your knee actually. And then maybe you want to stay here, or you draw your heel towards your butt. And down. Lift and down. Lift and down. One more time. Lift and down. And come a little bit further, deeper. And then placing hands on the inside, either staying on the arms or coming down. Make sure your knee is still staying close to your shoulder, to your body, and just shift forward. Try to be more of in this Sphinx pose and draw your chest forward. Breathing deeply. And then you want to maybe open up. That means you come on the outside of your foot and you're not really pushing, just helping just a little bit to twist. Breathe. Open up. Maybe one side feels a lot tighter than the other. I feel this side is tighter. It's normal. We try to balance that out. Maybe you want to stay here, or you want to catch your foot. First, relax into the pose, and then try to get lots of strength in your foot. Push your hand back, push it back. Your hand is holding it, and relax. Again, lots of strength, and relax. Lots of strength, relax. One more time. Lots of strength, and relax. Hold it. And then slowly come out of the pose. Shift your weight back. Half split. Keep your back straight. Breathing, just breathing. Try to keep the length in your back. You can forward fold further if you like to. I am fine up here. And then shift forward. Placing your hands down. And stepping back and coming through Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to a downward facing dog. And let's shift the weight forward and come into a nice plank. Draw in the right leg into your chest, really engaging the core here. And step it forward. One more time, shift back and forth your weight. So from here, you grab the towel and you're placing it on a floor that is kind of slippery. So you need a slippery floor for this. So what you're gonna do is you place your heel onto the towel. Or you can have socks actually too. It will work with just socks, something that slides. So there's also sliding pads if you have any. I don't have any. So you stay here on your toes and you come forward and you shift back. And this is the easy version. Come forward, shift your weight forward, maybe even coming up with your knee off the floor and drawing the leg back. Lots of strength. Don't just push with your hands. One more time, coming into the position, lifting the knee up, placing it down, and drawing it back. Now, we're going to try this without the hands down on the floor. I have to actually move her a little bit. So, this is really difficult. So, we're having the hands. And make sure you're not going too low. At first, try out what works. And you shift the weight back. And it takes a lot of strength in the legs. So, shift it forward. Sliding forward. And then sucking it back in. And I can go very far. Because this takes a lot of strength. Maybe you can go so much lower than I can. Or you cannot go as low as I can either. So draw up. One more time. This is really difficult. Lots of strength because flexibility and strength go hand in hand. One more time. Shifting forward. And drawing, sucking that leg back. And relax, release. Maybe come off the floor and relax. Draw that leg back into a nice plank. Come to chaturanga, upward facing dog, to a downward facing dog. Then draw in the left leg into your chest. Keep it up here. Keep it up here. Keep it up. And then step forward. So one more time, shift your weight back and forth and just opening up just a little bit. And then drop that knee down. And then placing your foot onto the towel or into a sock. So first, the easy version is slide that leg forward and then lift the back heel, the back knee off the floor. Stay here, open up your chest a little bit, and then knee down and draw the straight leg. This leg needs to stay straight. Forward, lift up with a knee, drop it, and come back in. Again, shift forward, open up the chest, lift the back knee off the floor. It might be shaking, that's okay. Drop it and draw it. And you can stay in this version if this is already difficult. Last time, forward, lift, drop it, and shift it back in. So if you want to stay in this version, stay in this version. Otherwise, come up and we're going to do this sliding motion without hands. So shift forward and back, and try out how deep you can go at first before you go too deep and you cannot come up again. Lower and lift. And I'm losing my towel. So one more time. Coming up dropping. Oh, lots of length and strength here. Really draw in that hip needs to go forward and this needs to draw back. So it's kind of like this motion. One more time. And shift it back. And come off the towel. Release. Come up. Move it back and forth. And then step back. Plank. And hold the plank. Chaturanga, hover. Lots of strength in your core. Upward facing dog. Really enjoy the upward facing dog. Maybe looking over the one shoulder. Maybe looking over the other shoulder. And then come back child's pose. Planning lengthen your back. Releasing all tensions from the back. And then come into a downward facing dog. Maybe walking your dog one more time. Feels really good. Just moving, shifting. And then find length in your back as we did at the beginning. Bend your knees quite a bit. Find lots of length in the back. And then straighten out the legs. Then, without moving too much, come up on the heels. On the toes, I mean. And placing the heels down. Okay, nice. So, now we're going to shift forward, draw on that right knee. Lots of strength in the core. We always need the core. And step forward. Nice. So, we're going to attempt splits. So, just relax here. One more time. Really drawing up that shoulder. One more time. Half split. You can always stay in half split. And then we shift the leg forward. Actually, I'm going to use that towel to make my foot slide a little bit more. Okay. So, we're staying on that back toes. We have our hands on the floor. If you cannot reach the floor, you might need blocks. If you have, you can place your hands on the blocks. And now we're going to have both hips facing forward. Don't worry about pointing or flexing. Just leave it neutral, but don't let it drop to any side. Lift the knee off the floor. Lift and lower. Lift. Lower, really push that heel backward and lower. One more time. Lift, lower, maybe pointing those toes on the back. Make sure they're not sickling, but it's really a straight line. And then maybe you drop a little bit your hip down and draw it up again. Maybe lowering and lift. Maybe lowering and lift. Lowering. And maybe stay. I'm a little bit off the floor, as you can see. It's early in the morning and I'm not as stretchy as I would like to be, but that's okay. Lifting. It doesn't matter that you look up, it matters that your chest stays open. This will engage also your core and your back muscles. Release, relax. And let's shift our weight a little bit to the side. Have your hands on the floor and maybe look backward. This requires a little bit more of an open hip, which we don't want to have in splits, but this will help you actually a little bit for the flexibility. And then you can shift the weight forward again and look forward. We want the closed hips, but sometimes it helps when we shift the weight towards the side and then close it. Open up, closing it, and then maybe dropping the hips again. And then come on the inside of the foot. And this will also help you with your flexibility on the inside, hands on the inside of that foot. And maybe you can point your foot here and flex. Point and flex. And it doesn't matter if you don't come on your elbows, you can stay up here or on a block, that's fine too. Point and flex. Maybe shift from side to side just a little bit. Letting go. Rising up. One more time. Splits. Maybe come up on the toes. And shifting everything back. So, quick child's pose. Hands in front. Lots of length in your back. Relaxing, releasing. And come into a downward facing dog. Always releasing, relaxing in between. It was a lot of work on the right leg and on the left leg actually. Let's do the other side. Shift forward and draw on the left leg. Lots of core strength. We need the core for pretty much every pose. So hold it here and step forward. One more time, shift back and forth your weight just a little bit. And come into half splits. You can always stay here and work here. Everything that we have worked. But if you're ready, you don't need that towel. I'm just using it to shift my weight a little bit better forward. You can come forward. Keep the toes, keep staying on your toes in the back leg. You can come on blocks. You can have your foot on the floor. And then lift and relax. Lift and relax. Lift, knees off the floor and relax. Lift and relax. And then come lower. Stay here. Just don't worry about the foot. If it's flexed or relaxed, just keep it neutral. And then you can maybe put your toe down too. Make sure that both hips are facing forward. Stay here and breathe. I do have my core engaged. Breathing deeply is really important. If your breath is not flowing, that means you went too far and you restricted. I shift my weight a little bit to the side and then I can look to the side. This is an open hip. And let's close the hip again. Open the hip. And let's close that hip. Last time. Opening up the hip. Closing it. Over time the splits, and maybe you point your toes here. You can flex. You can point. And then come on the inside of the leg. You can stay up here you can come on your elbows and maybe shift a little bit from side to side. Relaxing, releasing. I come up onto my toes and I'm going to lift actually one more time and then place my hip down. Pointing my toe and flexing. Pointing. And coming into true splits. So I'm coming up on my heel, on my toes again, and really shift that hip forward. So really both hip bones are facing forward and stay here. One more time. It's the last time. Breathe. And then maybe drop all the way down and really come deeply into the pose. And then shift back and come into a child's pose. Everything is a little bit tight, so release it. Come into a downward facing dog. Release and relax. Shift your weight forward into a nice plank. Hold it, engage that core. Come all the way down through chaturanga, hold it. And then gently come into an upward facing dog and really enjoy that hip flexor opening here. Look maybe over one shoulder. Look over the other shoulder. Release. Come through a child's pose on your fingertips, really slowly releasing. And into a downward facing dog. You can hop or just shift your weight forward and engage your core and gently set yourself down. We're going to come all the way laying down. And release one more time the hip flexors with the bridge pose. So we're lifting our hips up the floor. Maybe interlace your fingers behind your back and really truly engage your butt. We shift up. Releasing, relaxing. One more time, lift. I know you dropped a little bit down, so lift one more time, hold it here, and release. Apanasana, draw on your knees. And before we come into a nice Shavasana, we're going to come into a laying down twist. So I straighten out my left leg, right leg comes across and opening up. Releasing, relaxing, letting everything go. And let's come to the other side. Shift your hip a little bit to the side over. Right leg extended, left over comes across. And arm comes across. And I like to have a little bit higher than just 90 degrees, just to open up my shoulder a little bit more. But it's up to you, it's your choice. Relax. And let's come into Shavasana. If you need anything else, please feel free to practice whatever you need here. I'm going to loosen up my legs and just swaying them from side to side. I'm going to drop my shoulders and make a sour face. And then stick out my tongue and look up. And then just relaxing. Coming to still point here. And maybe this practice was really hard for you. And there was a lot of tension and lots of resistance. And maybe it wasn't only physical, but it was also mentally. Just observe what it was that was holding you back, or where you felt like you couldn't let go. Our yoga practice is a practice of getting to know ourselves better, how we react when we're trying to lengthen and letting go, or when it becomes difficult, what is our reaction? Maybe we like to flee, hold back. What is the conversation you're having when you go through difficulties? What we experience on the mat is what we experience in life. So becoming aware of how we react in difficult situations, with tensions, with things that maybe we don't like to do. We can learn. And once we know our reaction, we can change it. So whatever your practice was, however it was, however it felt, now is your time to let it go and just be in this moment. Relax, let go, drop everything to the feet of God. Just surrender it into the stillness. And slowly come back to your mat mentally. Feel how it feels to lay here on the floor and to fully be in this moment. To fully be here. Become aware that the presence of God is with you all the time. Right now. In this moment, and when you choose to go into the world, He's always with you. So stretch yourself out, maybe still keeping your eyes closed, being aware of this moment of here. And then draw on your knees And just hug your knees into your chest and slowly maybe shift from side to side, releasing any tensions. And then come to the side and come into a seated position. And release, we will release just a little bit more by rolling out the chest in one direction, just the upper body here. Try to isolate the upper body. Try to combine it with your breath. One more time, just isolating the upper body. And then make the circles really big. So your hips are actually loosening up, opening up. Really straighten up your chest in front and rounding your back on the back. It's almost a little bit like cat-cow. One more time. Onto the back. And then place the other foot in front. Let's try to isolate just the upper body and to the other direction. Small circles. And then make them be. Rounding your back in the back and to the front, come with a straight back. Make the circles as big as it feels comfortable. And release. Come into a side body stretch. It doesn't matter to which side first. Just keep your both butt bones on the floor and keep the shoulder back. To the other side, shoulder back, both butt bones stay on the floor. And release, relax your neck to the side and shift your chin towards your chest, down. Other side. First stretch into the side and then dropping that chin down. And let's inhale, deep inhale. And let's exhale. In this breath, feel the presence of God just really being with you. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Whatever you will face today, know that God is with you and remember how it felt like to be so present. So when you feel like your day is going crazy and your mind and you're being pulled in all directions, remember how it feels to be present, to feel the presence of God and help. Maybe you stop your day just for a second. Take a deep breath, feeling and knowing that God is there for you, helping you, guiding you through. I wish you a wonderful, blessed day. See you next time.